Blessings, YouTube, and welcome to Spiritual Vibrations. Yes. Today I begin my new series on spirituality. We just got finished exploring our bodies a little bit in body rhythms, and now I thought it'd be good to move on to the spirituality segment of higher frequency this time of year. This time of year, as you know, is really considered to be a very, very spiritual time of year for just about every religion. This is the time of year. But did you know why? Some people think it's because of the birth of Jesus Christ. However, this time of year has been celebrated long before. I am talking about thousands of years before Christianity. The earth is rotating around the sun, for those of you who don't know. And that rotation takes about 365 days to complete. Those 365 days are broken down into weeks, months, like that. And there are 12 months in the year, and there are 4 seasons in the year. Now, the reason that we have the seasons and the day and night time is because of that rotation. As we're rotating, the sun is only able to hit the earth in certain areas for a certain amount of time as it's moving. As we're rotating, that's what determines the length of the days, the length of the weeks, the month, the seasons, and everything. That's how we know. And then the earth isn't exactly straight rotating like this. It's kind of at an angle, so that it's, it's rotating in a weird kind of way. But as it's rotating, the sun is only able to hit it on certain spots at certain times for a certain amount of time. So that as it's rotating, you see where we have our days getting longer, shorter, because it's at an angle, and it's really technical, but that's what it is. When the earth is at its most extreme angle, that's when we have our shortest day of the year. And that day is what they have called winter solstice. That is the day just before the cycle begins again. Back in time when our people didn't have internet and clocks and all this fancy technology that we have now, all they had was the sun, the moon, and the stars. And those things they knew for sure were constant and were going to be each and every day. The celebration of the changing of the seasons has been celebrated for thousands of years before Christmas. So people have always been grateful for the sun. They have always been grateful for that renewal, for that promise of the regeneration of life. So depending on where you were, that determined what you did and how you celebrated that time of year. But it was always acknowledged. When did that all change? And why are we now all pagans who believe and who are grateful to the sun? It all changed, I would say, with the emergence of Christianity and Lutheran, all those other religions, Protestant, Catholicism. Before any of those religions existed, as I said, there was just pure gratitude. Everybody was just so grateful to be a part of the cycle, and they wanted to do every and anything that they could to pay homage to the cycle and to make sure that they stayed in the cycle by being grateful. And then as the other religions started to take prevalence, all of that went out the window, and it no longer became important. In fact, it 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 became illegal, and you were considered to be a pagan. And truly, what the word pagan means, it comes from the Latin word paganus, and what it really meant was a country dweller, someone that lived out in the country, that wasn't necessarily in the city. It meant, rustic, something like that. So it really was more used to define your locality as opposed to your religion. And as I said, it wasn't until later, and not even at the inception of the Christianity, but a little later on, is when when they started writing about when they started writing chronicles about what was going on in the Christian Reform and all those things, that they started using the word pagan as to define anyone whose religious beliefs were not that of the mainstream. And it just it stuck, and that's what happened with that. But again, the practice and the time frame, the importance of that never did change. And that's what kept people practicing and celebrating that time of year. So that when Christianity was imposed and they were trying to spread it and get as many converts as they could, there was a need to combine the already in place celebrations with the new religion that they wanted to have people embrace. So that by melding the dates and the celebration, they kind of just kind of got people over onto their side in a slick way. And then they said, now we're not going to use your phrases anymore. We're not going to call it this anymore. We're going to call it a Mass for Christ, opposed to winter solstice. We're not going to use those words because those are pagan. And that's basically what happened. So without getting into the little technicalities of it, that's basically what happened. So we still celebrate that renewal and that regeneration. We still acknowledge the spirituality of this time of year, but through politics, through politics and religion, the true essence of the time and the true essence of the celebration, I think, has been lost. Winter solstice celebrations take place all over the world, between December, like I said, around the 20th or so, till about mid-January. Depending on where you are, the celebrations last that long. Some people call it pagan rituals. Some people call it religious rituals. Either way, it's still a celebration of that time in that time frame period. When they came over to the New World here in the West, to the Americas, or this side of the earth, things got changed and altered a little bit. But it was always an offshoot of what was being done elsewhere in the world. So that if your family heritage was more European, then you tended to do more of the European rituals, which was the Yule tides, the Yule log, and the mistletoe, things like that. Different things, like I said, depending on where you came from, you practice different rituals. But they all, as I said, they all had that one common denominator, and that's the time of year and the theme of the rebirth of the sun. Some people say it's the sun, but either way, it's the sun, it's still the sun. And I think that's what's really important to remember about this time of year, and to remember about the holidays. Not which celebrations are pagan, which people are pagan, and all of that. It's to understand what it's about. It's about the regeneration of life, about the promise of the sun's power and strength. And along with that is that it takes 6 months now again before it starts to shift back into the decline. The days start getting shorter again in June, and we're back on the backswing of the cycle. But it's the cycle nevertheless. And it's good to know and to be in touch with it. And as I said, it's a very spiritual time because we're able to come inside more physically and even spiritually. It's a time where you can be more reflective and reconnect yourself, get yourself ready for that spring, for the real emergence, and prepare. Some religions believe that it's very symbolic with spiritual enlightenment, that it takes the same amount of time for the sun to grow back to those full days that it takes our spirit to grow, so that it's symbolic. And so I felt like this was a good time to begin our spiritual journey and our spiritual exploration. By the time June comes around, who knows where we'll be spiritually. But that was really it. I just wanted to say, happy holidays. I've been gone for a little bit, but it was to come back at the right time with the rebirth and a regeneration, and with our new series, Spiritual Vibrations. So if you've liked my video, please like it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, share, and see you next week. Thank you for watching. Blessings.